Hello, hi, greetings to one and all. Welcome to the channel, and I am back again with another editorial analysis for you. Today, I have a GS3 editorial, and this is from Health's perspective. This is Harshvardhan. And what are we going to discuss today? We're going to discuss about the recent petition that has been filed in the Kerala High Court. And the petition was filed by a sufferer of breast cancer. And to her surprise, the petition, however, was entertained by Kerala High Court, but the government of India was called by the Kerala High Court, and the government of India denied that they do not have adequate uh, requirements to basically grant compulsory license for the manufacture of cancer drugs, and which is why we can see that the cancer treatment in India is no more affordable and cannot even hope that it will be affordable at least by 2029. So this editorial is basically authored by Chaitali Rao and Biswajit Dhar. They are professor of economics, and Chaitali Rao is also a consultant. In this editorial, the author mentions about the recent tabled report of Rajya Sabha, Standing Committee on Health. So Rajya Sabha में Standing Committee on Health बनी थी, जिसमें कैंसर केयर प्लान एंड मैनेजमेंट में बताया कि कैंसर मेडिसिन की जो बढ़ती हुई कीमतें हैं उससे भारत देश में और पूरी दुनिया में काफ़ी ज़्यादा दिक्कतें आ रही हैं. कुछ डेटा हमारे सामने हैं. देर आर सम ऑफ द डेटाज वेयर वी नीड टू फोकस एंड होल्ड आवर पर्टिकुलर अटेंशन टू. The committee has noted that about 40% of cancer hospitalization cases are financed mainly through borrowings, sale of assets, contributions from friends and relatives. Nearly 40% of the cancer victims are unable to afford their medication and treatment and therapy, and they are going into a permanent state of debt. All right. Also, the author highlights that the spending of cancer care in private facilities is about three times that of the public facilities. Public facilities means the government hospitals. Private facilities are three times costlier than public facilities. The problem becomes manifold, is exasperated because we have nearly 14 lakh people suffering from cancer since 2020. Now 14 lakh people are suffering from cancer. 40% of them are mainly in debt because of the treatment, and private treatment is three times costlier than the government facilities. Why? The question here is why? And what impact does it hold on the survival rates? Now, this is where the situation gets critical because in developing countries, this problem is more serious, more severe. Most of the victims in cancer are relatively about breast cancer. And if you look at the survival rate for the breast cancer, author tells you that it is relatively very low for India and South Africa. These are emerging economies. All right. And WHO, World Health Organization, has also prepared a report of pricing of cancer medicines, and its impact had stated the cost of a course of standard treatment for early stage would be requiring 10 years of annual wages in India and South Africa and 1.7 years in United States, which means if you want to have a cancer treatment in India, 10 का आपका एनुअल जो वेज है इंडिया में, साउथ अफ्रीका में, वो पूरा लग जाएगा आपका कैंसर मेडिसिन को अफोर्ड करने में. दिस इज सीरियस. फर्दर, there are also costs associated with medical care and interventions, such as wherever surgeries are required, wherever radiotherapies are required. All this makes it even more unaffordable. Now, this is something, the address of the problem that is before us, and this is all that we have discussed. And the root cause of the problem is the patent restrictions, which means the manufacturer of the drugs which are capable of curing cancer patients are protected by a right called as patent. Now, patent is given for technical innovations. Now, these patent rights, which means if I am a person who has discovered a drug or has invented a drug for cancer treatment, I would want that I am the only person who is knowing how to manufacture that drug. I would not want my competitor to know about it. So I'll get my invention patented, which means I have exclusive right over its production, manufacturing, and all that. And thereby, the companies try to create a monopolistic atmosphere. They try to outlive their competitors. And this disallows the government of India to allow for generic production of vaccines because the cost would be too high. In this particular matter, there are three drugs that are basically being discussed, cancer drugs. One is by Novartis, which is in the name of ribociclib, 64,455, which is palbociclib of Pfizer of 87,000. Second and third is abemaciclib of Eli Lilly between 47,000 and 95,000. And you need to have these medications given to the patients for the rest of her life. Patient have to take one of the medicines and it is to be given to the rest of the life. Now if you imagine, ये तो monthly salary भी नहीं होती लोगों की भारत देश में. So these all factors have been discussed and I'm going to break the editorial into pieces, tiny pieces for you in the next 4 minutes. I'm going to wrap this editorial for you. So the Standing Committee on Health in Rajya Sabha has prepared a report where they are discussing about the implications of increasing cost of cancer medicines. Now this high cost of cancer medicines is basically affecting the survival rates in India, which is far lower in comparison with the developed countries. With India, for a 5-year survival period of a breast cancer patient, 65% chances are there that 65% will survive, rest will die. In South Africa, this is quite opposite. 45% will survive, the rest will die. Whereas for America, author says that it is 90 years. With regards to the cost of cancer treatment, you need 10 years of wages in India and South Africa. Whereas in comparison to United States of America, you need just around 2 years of wages to permanently cure a cancer patient. But the question is, why are these medicines ultimately so costly? What makes these medicines so costly in India? Now, the manufacturer of these medicines mentioned, those who manufacture these medicines mentioned, that they spend yearly around $3 billion for research and innovation. So these companies invest a lot of money in research and innovation. However, WHO says that they are trying to just generate huge profits out of it. And research and development does not increase the cost and should not increase the cost. Most of these cancer treatment drugs are protected by intellectual property rights, like patent rights, and definitely it leads to increase in the prices. And these companies basically ask their government to give them exclusive production rights to allow them to continue their manufacturing, and thereby they generate monopoly. So they have a complete control on the prices of the drugs. So we read that companies are investing a lot in research and development. Companies are trying to create huge profits also. They have basically taken patent rights over these drugs and they enjoy monopoly. All these factors are contributing for increased cost of cancer treatment drugs. Also, these patent rights are given for a limited period called as the patent term, and patent term basically till the time you have the patent right is called as the patent term. And after a certain period of time, any domestic manufacturer can manufacture them at a very reasonable cost. But what happens is that these companies have created a way out of it, where generic medicines cannot be produced. And the reason is that the new therapies are being introduced every now and then by them. And for new therapies, new patent rights are given. And this leads to incremental innovations, patents on incremental innovations, which means every time a therapy is innovated, you have a patent on the new innovation. And this leads to evergreen patent right on those particular therapies, which means the patent term, even after the patent term is over, you will innovate the therapy, you will bring something new on the table, you will get a patent right on that, and then what will happen? Again, the cost will ultimately increase. So ultimately, these factors have a negative impact on patients. This leads to deep financial stress to the patients. Their right to live with dignity is getting affected in India, which is protected under Article 21. Their right to health is also getting affected in India, which is also protected under Article 21. As per the definitions of the concept of life, health, and dignity given by WHO, it is also in violation of these definitions. The real question before the government or before us is what can we do about it? What can the government do about it? Do we have any law in India that can regulate that? Definitely. There are two situations where the author has suggested that if we have a domestic manufacturer with adequate technologies and know-how, we can grant them the compulsory license. Now, this compulsory license was also given for manufacturing of COVID vaccines because it was a global pandemic, and World Trade Organization had agreed that compulsory license can be issued to domestic manufacturers who have adequate technologies and know-how. Under which act? Patents Act, using Section 84 and 92. Now, this compulsory license basically override the patent rights of a manufacturer, and domestic production can be done at affordable cost to make affordable drugs. Now, this leads to cost-effective treatment. Let's assume a scenario where the domestic company shows no interest in manufacturing a cancer drug for under compulsory license. Then what? The government can then invoke Section 100 of the Patents Act. And in this section, the government has the power to authorize mandatorily any entity to manufacture a drug without the authorization of the patent holder, and because the government recognizes that it is an emergency. Now, the government before Kerala High Court has recently stated that there is no enough demand for the breast cancer drugs, and therefore they are in no position to invoke whether Section 92, whether Section 84, or whether Section 100 of the Patents Act. And this is all where the author is suggesting that in the last, author ends with the question that when the present situation looks propitious to us for the granting of compulsory license, why is the government stepping aside from using this instrument to promote the domestic production of cancer medicines and making them affordable? Why the government is not doing it? So this was about cancer treatment, cancer drugs, editorial analysis on that. I hope you enjoyed it. How did you find the analysis? Do let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys in the next.